Hello, my name is Paul-Beckett. Been a couple of weeks since my last video because I've been quite busy peopling. School started back up again, so I've been settling back into that. But it has had me thinking about kind of the different masks we wear, the different roles we play, and obviously one of mine is my job. I'm a teacher, and something that I'm really working on is being as authentic as I can be all the time, because I think we all compartmentalize ourselves. Like we're a work me, and then we're a home me, and then we're a fun night out me, and then do you know what I mean? And I'm really trying to be the same version of myself, or as close to what I know to be the true essence of me all the time. And that's working with the young people as well. So I'm an art teacher, but by some twist of the universe, my school has asked me to start teaching religious education, which really makes me laugh because obviously duh. But so it's something that I've been really open to, and we've started. So we have like a little starter. You know, when the lesson starts, I have something on the board, a quote, something like that, and I ask as the young people are coming in, settle down, write down the quote, and say, what does it mean to you? Do you agree? Do you disagree? So I've been putting a lot of different quotes up. You know, the only limitations are the ones you set upon yourself. Positivity is like a magnet. It draws good things to you. Those kind of things. And just getting the kids to say, what does it mean to them? Whatever. And then I maybe sometimes will chirp in, well, you know, in my lived experience, this means this to me. And actually, it's opened up so many lovely channels of conversation with these young people, because they always surprise you. They always surprise you. And I'm a big one for wanting to. I share, like, you know, kids are obsessed with teachers' personal lives, like, because that you've even got one, because they think that you just put yourself in a cupboard and then close the door. Do you know what I mean? So I've been sharing quite a lot about, you know, how when I left school I wasn't ready to go straight to university, and I actually was just going wild. Got myself a little job, but I was actually just going wild. And if you'd have asked me at the time what I was doing, I was just having a good time, and my mum was pulling her hair out thinking, what am I doing with my life? But actually now, at this point, I'm like, I was growing up. I was growing up in those years. I wasn't ready to go from the institution of school to the institution of university. And it meant when I went later on, obviously, I was really ready to be there, and I did really well. I just buckled down straight away, kind of thing. But being authentic and just being honest with my lived experience with the kids really, I found, opens up these channels with them, and they'll share a lot about themselves, but also they, like, when you're speaking to them, they're like, as soon as you start communicating just as another human being, and people sense honesty, people sense authenticity, and as soon as you start to just tell the truth, people will listen to you. So I found of this little last week and a half with the kids, that's been something that I've really loved, and it's something that I'm striving for in every part of my life. Obviously, I realised my true nature a year and a half ago. I know what I am. I know what everybody is. That sense of love, that sense of, like, kind of purpose and things that I never had before, I have now. But can I still find myself in positions where I'm peopling? And yes, of course I can. Do I still sometimes find myself telling a version of the truth instead of just the truth? Yeah. And it's so funny because it kind of stands against everything which I know to be, but I'll still find myself and I'll go, oh, I've just embroidered that for them and I didn't need to. And what am I going to do? Am I going to say, oh, some kind of spiritual person you are? Oh, you think you've realised your true nature? Obviously not. Look what's just happened. Because let me tell you something, my mind would sometimes like me to judge myself like that. My mind would sometimes like me to hold myself accountable for all these little things and whip myself. And no, I'm still here in a human incarnation. Do you know what I mean? I'm still working very much with the conditioning that Paul built up in his life for 44 years. So these little things, you know, it's not like I'm telling a big stinking lie or something. But you know the way sometimes we tailor the story for the ears that are listening to it or something, and just something like that. And I'll catch myself doing it. I'll be like, wow. So a few times I'm like, oh, actually, sorry, that's not actually the way it happens. And sometimes I won't correct myself, but I'll think to myself, isn't that funny that you're still doing this despite the truth that you know. You can still fall into that trap of peopling. And do you know what? It's okay. Like, I'm not here to be my own jailer. I'm not here to be my own tormentor. I have to, with the love I feel for everything now, with the love I feel for, humanity, that love needs to be reflected back at myself. And I had a lot of conditioning and a lot of bad habits that we all have in the world, which ingrained like a little groove, like a little go-to behavior. And I've just noticed in the last couple of weeks, a few things have come up where I've what I like to call peopled, and it's just been really interesting for me. It's been really interesting for me, just to know, like, oh, that little program's still there. That's something I can look at. But B, how do I treat myself when that happens? And it has to be lightheartedly. It has to be with love. It has to be like, never mind. Look, learn, see what happened. Try and be better next time. Try and get closer to the mark next time. Because that's all we're ever really trying to do. I've said a million times, there's no such thing as sin. Like, guilt just is completely a waste of time. Our true nature doesn't know sin, doesn't know guilt. Our mistakes, it doesn't even see, because only the loving acts which come from the place of what we truly are registered in the true reality. So within the dream, within the incarnation, we're going to fuck up. We're going to go the wrong way, then realize we've gone the wrong way, and then go the wrong way again 2 weeks later. We're gonna do that. And you know what? It has to be about kindness to yourself, love to yourself, because the same compassion, the same kindness, the same love which I'm radiating out to people, what would be the point if I couldn't show that to myself? And I think that's where a lot of us kind of can get ourselves stuck in a little hole where we're not really swallowing what we're given. Does that make sense? A lot is being seen externally. Remember, gosh, has to come from here. You have to have swallowed the medicine first before you can offer the medicine to somebody else. So, yeah, my peopling has been really interesting for me, and I've had people reach out from online, my emails in the comments, message me for lols and chat if you want, but people reach out. So I was speaking to a girl in Texas this week. We've messaged back and forward, and she's just been asking me, she said, do you mind if I just ask you questions? I was like, no, go for it. So she's asking me like questions like, does this still feel like this for you? What's it like when you meditate? Like, just questions. I'm just answering them as honestly as I can. But one of them, she was saying, do you, now that you know that none of this is real, now that you don't identify with the character that you wear anymore, I can't remember the way she put it, but it was kind of like, what's the point? I was like, gosh, the Paul character that I played is still very much here. It's still very much here, and it's a mode of existence that I can decide to put on or put off like a mask. Do you know what I mean? But just because sometimes because I'm still surrounded by people in the world, and who still believe we're separate, and there's egos at play and all of that, does it make me any less of a spiritual person? Well, God, of course not. No, of course not. No. But can I sometimes do it unconsciously? Yes, still. And what do I do about that? Do I judge myself? No. I laugh. I go, oh, there's one of those little things pop back up again. There's a little pattern that snuck out without me even realizing. So, a kindness to yourself, God, I cannot stress this enough, that you can't love until you're loved. Do you know what I mean? You have to swallow the medicine first before you can even hope to offer it to somebody else. So I'm sure we all find ourselves in situations in the world where we're putting on our different masks from situation to situation and being who we need to be in that situation. And it can feel inauthentic. And the mind can want to then pull you up on it. Oh, look at you, you're fake. Look at you, you're playing here. You're playing, yeah, we're all playing a role. We are literally all playing a role. The character which we're going to call our authentic self, guess what? Isn't your authentic self. Your spirit. You are sheer love. You are the one, everything, the all experiencing itself in relation to itself. So do you know what? Remember, like, it's a funny thing. People go, "Oh, you've changed." But people change a terrible thing, isn't it? You've changed. Because if you're not keeping your character straight and you're not being really consistent with it, you're kind of suggesting that maybe these characters are a little bit more flexible than we would all like to believe. And so you're not allowed to change from what I think you are, or from what you've presented to me in the past. Or do you know what I mean? And yeah, we're playing roles. We're playing roles. So what can you do? Because we're still within the play. We're still within the dream. You can play it consciously. You can be kind to yourself. Some of your character traits are going to be lovely and very, very well aligned with our true nature, compassion, all of that. Some of them aren't. And you know what? Notice them. Notice them as they're coming up. Notice what situations set off certain reactions in you, certain programs, which are really deep-seated, which you've probably come up with over years as kind of like a self-protection or whatever it is. It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you bad. It makes you human and in incarnation. Because everything, apart from the fact of knowing yourself as infinite, eternal, loving consciousness, the one creator, the all, is a play. So sometimes that's going to be less consistent. Doesn't matter. It's a play anyway. Sometimes you're going to act out in a less evolved version of yourself. It's okay. Spot it. Try better next time. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. But you certainly can't whip yourself for the character mask having slipped a little bit. You certainly can't whip yourself for like, oh God, I'm not really doing a good job of convincing everybody that I am this person that I'm saying that I am. Do you know what I mean? But it's something that I've found in the last couple of weeks. A little invitation of the mind to want to judge myself when I fall back into peopling. And I'm going to do that every time I say peopling, because I don't know that I don't think I've coined that phrase, but if I have, peopling, trademark. But that's what it feels like. That's 100% what it feels like. And David Bingham, who is someone that I'm really lucky to have a relationship with, has said to me, like, I'm not a person until someone knocks at the door and I answer it. But in his house, to himself, he's everything and nothing all at once. But as soon as, I don't know, the milkman knocks to be paid or something, he puts on the David mask because he needs to be David to interface with another person who's calling, I don't know, Steve. Do you know what I mean? Steve the milkman. And it's okay. It's okay. It's a mode of expression that we have available to us. We talk incarnation. Do you know? We talk incarnation like we always knew this was the deal. But we don't need to believe it. We don't need to believe in the separation. We don't need to believe in the ego character that we've made for ourselves. So all of this on the internet, kill the ego is evil, suppress the ego, and all that. No. Treat it lightheartedly. Because what you resist persists. What you let be there because you know that it can be there without altering what you know you are. It's funny, isn't it? It's sometimes, especially as a gay guy, you get some men who are a bit like, oh, I don't mind you being gay as long as it doesn't get put in my face, and you're like, wasn't likely to do that anyway, but okay. And then you get some guys who are so secure in their sexuality that it's fine for them to be around the gay guy. Do you know what I mean? Because where's the threat? Do you know what I mean? So I've found that throughout my life. And I treat the ego the same way. Where's the threat? It doesn't threaten you at all. It was just a character that you concocted to 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 like kind of experience this play that we're all sharing in. It's not a threat to you. It's not evil. It's not any of those things. It can be bloody annoying, and it can have you trapped in kind of programmed ways of thinking that maybe would have you acting in a way that you don't want to. So spot it, but it's not like a battle. It's not like a destruction of the ego. It's a let it slip away from seeing what it truly is. Just something you played at, and something you can slip right back on like a comfortable little costume when it suits you. But do it consciously. Do it consciously. That way, you don't need to run with all those old programs. You don't need to react. You don't need to be trapped in patterns that just aren't serving you anymore. But we all have an ego. We all have a character that we're in. Otherwise, we would literally be sitting here blank. No, nothing, because no one is. And like, we're not doing that. Well, if you're anything like me, I live in a city. I live in a society. Does it change my knowledge of what I know myself to be? Not one single bit. Does it change my knowledge, my absolutely sure to my core knowledge of what everybody else is too? Not one little bit. Am I still in the play, sometimes acting along with it all? 100%. And that's okay. And that's okay. Because nothing can threaten what we are. I'm obsessed with the book A Course in Miracles, and at first I really wasn't. It really, really brought up a lot of resistance to me. But at this stage, I think I've listened to it 6 times, and I'm obsessed with it. And there's a quote that opens that book, and it sums everything up to me. And it's, what's real cannot be threatened. What's unreal does not exist. And that to me sums up everything. I am secure. I'm secure. There's no threat to me. I can lay down my defenses because literally there is no threat. Can I still get involved in the illusions and the plays and the ego characters? Yes, of course I can. Will I ever forget again what I truly am? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, I don't know. What is the message of this? Is kindness. Always love. There's no point to life without it, but to yourself. Don't forget yourself. Because as good spiritual people, like, we can be that busy throwing the love and throwing the kindness and that we forget that it starts with us. So yeah, that's my little thought of the next few weeks. To be kind to yourself, to understand that we're still very much in the game. We've got an ego sitting there that we can slip in and out of. But that does not threaten what you are. What could threaten what we are? We are infinite, we are eternal, we are one. So don't worry about it. Like, treat it a little bit more lightheartedly. And see if you can apply this to when it comes up with you, because it's giving yourself that little bit of mental space to go, oh, there's a pattern. Oh, I did that then without thinking. So it's so interesting. So interesting, you don't need to beat yourself up for it. Just notice it. Notice it, because when you bring the light of your awareness to it, it's less and less and less. You get more and more into the driving seat. So, I love you. Bye.